But the man should do some time and then take care of the child. Point blank. That's what I believe. The man should take full responsibility of that. He goes to jail for it because that's a crime. All right, that's pedophilia, and whatever time, yada yada yada, and whatever money that he makes in jail, a program, a program that they can make money in jail, integrate that with the first step program. You know what I'm saying? That get them to work to take care of the child while they're in jail. And that's my thoughts, that the man should do time, and then there should be a program to pay for the child. And also that may help him on his parole. I don't know. Parenting classes, all that. You know what I'm saying? Maybe it should be a different facility for this type of crime, just for that. But then it comes to the issue of, okay, well, we're letting pedophilia, we're letting that, they're getting off early. People want to say that, you know, but that's the, yeah.
It's the issue is there. I mean, you have all these
Yeah.
problems.
I mean,
I mean, you have so many. What I'm saying is, again, equal. If you're going to make these extreme laws, it has to be equal all across the board, and that's not what's happening. I understand that. Well, women were their body, their rights. Yeah, exactly. It was their body, their right. But then again, the women. There's many, 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 many women that didn't decide to abort, and they're single moms. You see it all day, and then you can go into like different situations and whatever scenarios. But the fact is that you have single mothers that did not go ahead, and teen moms. Like I said, I was growing up and teens were having children because they didn't want to do abortion. And let me tell you, I had a friend in high school that got pregnant, and I've there's been several situations. I had a friend in high school that got pregnant. She got pregnant and she was in 11th grade. Wait, was it 11th grade? Or was it 10th grade? 10th grade, 11th grade. It was actually, yeah, 10th grade, 11th grade. The person that impregnated her was a basketball star in school. The father was well known in the athletics. That boy said, "It's not my baby. It's not.
DNA.
It's not my baby." The dad said, "It's not his baby." What other choice did the girl have? To keep the child, right? And yet she's being denied that that's the child. Blah 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 blah.
What if, what if they took a DNA, right?
Right. But what I'm
And
saying is, like, a lot of people don't do this. Like, a lot
yeah,
of people don't go through the whole process of DNA, go through the process of the women. A lot of women don't go through the courts.
but
They don't do none.
I think that should be, that if it's denied, then that by law, you know what I'm saying. And I tell you what, I'll be honest, as a taxpayer, just to save face for the man or whatever is happening, that by law there should be a DNA test. And I'd be happy if the taxpayer money do that, because if it's not this child and she don't know, another issue. Here we go.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, because he was in athletics and because his father and him, and he actually went on to play in a college football team. But what I'm saying is, he denied her. They were together. He denied her. The dad denied her, like saying, "No, that's not his baby. No." And then she was like,
By law,
she
DNA.
didn't tell anybody, and she tried to find money to get an abortion because the baby was not going to have a daddy, and she was in high school.
By law, DNA though first. DNA is the first step if the man denies the baby. I mean, what we got to be sure on that. Now, if now the issue would be if the baby was his, it goes back to the parents and all that. If not, single mom, don't know. Then, if you're looking at it, then okay, what people were you with? And then you're going to have to find that person, and that's another sucky part.
Yeah, but that's something else. That's not
But
what I'm
that's
talking
still,
about.
but that's still part of the issue, though.
Right, but
of the law.
that's another issue. The one issue is the person doesn't want anything to do with the child, and the father and the family doesn't want anything to do with the child.
Well, then if it they have the baby, they have to. That's by law. Sorry. You know what I'm saying? I mean, there ain't no ways around it if the baby's proven to be his.
Okay, so what I'm saying is, if the father said that she had to have an abortion,
Still to the other parent to agree with it. It goes to the parent, not the child.
okay,
You know, I mean, that's the only thing I can think of.
okay, this is where the whole problem. There's a whole mess of things happening, and this is where people are not gonna like having all these laws passed, and everybody's gonna be held responsible. Everybody's gonna be held responsible. If it's a teen, the teen being a teen, whatever, with another teen, the both parents are gonna have to deal with it. But what I've seen in my experience, a lot of families force their kids to have abortion. They force the girl to have abortion, or the male side do not want the baby. And these are the things that people have to understand. Whether I understand it's a life, but if you're talking about law and you're talking about putting women in jail for 99 years and death penalty, then it has to be an equal punishment for the male.
Yes. I can't.
For not being part of the
deny
child.
that. That's one thing, and I'm a male, and I can't deny that because fair is fair. This is not being biased in no way toward anything. I mean, this right here is real. This is real. You know, and I can't say it enough. Can't say it enough. I mean, this is what's happened. This is what this legislation did, and these are the problems.
And I know a lot of people are going to say, "Oh, well, there's child support and this and that." Well, let me look around you. Look around you and look at how many women go to the courts for child support when a person disappears. Or even a male, even when the mom abandons their child. Look how many people go to the court. For the amount of people that are getting pregnant and single moms, there's a lot of people that are not going through the courts. There's a lot of people that are just taking the child and thinking that they can raise the child. And this happens a lot too.
Mm-hmm.
This happens all the time. So there's so many factors, that go into all this. And my main point is, if you're going to do extreme laws, it has to be extreme for everybody. And everybody needs to be held responsible, and everybody has to have skin in the game. Because the woman is the one carrying the child. The woman is the one birthing the child. And that in itself, it's another whole ball of wax. So if you're gonna sit here, and because a woman, for whatever reason, a postpartum depression, wants to get rid of the child, whatever she's going through, whatever situation it is, and you're gonna put her in jail for doing these things, for taking the action of not having the child.
We'll just put the baby up for adoption.
Oh, that's another thing. But again, you can put the baby up for adoption, but there is the 9-month period that they have to carry. You still have to hold the male responsible if you're going to do that too.
Okay, I gotta be honest with you. How?
Providing food, because you're eating for two.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah, I mean, it's like because number one, the guy's not really in the picture.
Right. But she's
Until-
carrying the child for 9 months.
Right. So and
For
then the
for the
first 6 months, usually women are working, yada yada yada.
okay, but again, they have
Okay, then what's the mon? Then what's the mon? Then I guess as a male, all right, as a male, my question is this: it's 9 months. I understand that they carried a child. All right. What can I do of the 9 months incubation of the child? What do I pay? What do I do? The woman could be at home. You know what I'm saying, with the mother or father or whatever, or she still can be working. Okay, then you have to go to Lamont's classes,
the
yada yada,
doctor
barber
appointments,
appointments,
the
and
checkups,
you know what I'm saying. Then they
the
actually
sickness.
put that. I mean, there's a. I mean, this is wow, man. You know what I'm saying? That's just like I mean, because why? Because these are all things that I would do naturally. You know what I'm saying? If it was my kid, even if I was with her for 2 or 3 months, I mean, I no problem.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I mean, I'm trying to think of if I wasn't like that. So I'm just trying to put myself into that position of like if it's basically if I was in that position, these are the questions I'd be asking. Like so then if that has to be court ordered.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, if you since you're there since you made it, you have to at least be there for the support.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's the only thing because 9 months you're completely useless until it comes out. And that's what being on. This is from a man's point of view, right? I'm like, look, for 9 months, there's nothing I can do except sit there. And, you know what I'm saying? Basically. So then you gotta go through all the checkups, Le Mans, and then you like just like they do probably court order for what do they call it? Public service. You know what I'm saying?
Bingo.
That's like the public service that you got to do if you're the
Mm-hmm.
father of the kid.
Yep.
Is now you have public service,
Mm-hmm.
that you got to situate. Le Mans classes, schooling, parenting classes, and
Yep.
that's basically parenting classes is number one.
Yep.
And then even once you have your parenting class, and remember all this is all straight thought. I'm just we're putting ourselves in these situations. So then after you go to parenting classes, then you have to go to single parenting classes, which is be another type class if being a single parent if you don't decide to come together. So you got to have like two completely different classes. One class if you're going to be together, another class if you're not going to be together, and then it goes to what they say how to or else call it co-parenting class.
And let's say you say that the person's deciding to obviously give the child up for adoption, you have to take therapy, psychological therapy,
Yeah, that too.
because it's going to be traumatic
Right.
because you had a bonding for 9 months.
But you see what one law did.
But I mean, this is how complicated things are that people don't
Right.
think.
Right.
There's so much that goes into it, and again, both people must be held responsible
Right. Both
if
of
you're
them.
gonna make these laws.
And believe me, Alabama, Minnesota, Georgia, don't say you did think about it, because you didn't think about the stuff that we're talking about.
I don't think Minnesota did that. Minnesota make the laws, but they have like the other stuff is like sure.
Right, but if you're going to, well, any state that's going to make these blame laws, y'all did not have a full discussion on these laws. Y'all did not ask people. Why did I say that? Because why are you passing this law like this right now? You just did what you thought and what you think that should happen, which is not what is happening, and how to make people be responsible. And yeah, that's more taxpayer money. But if it but now we have if you all don't want to pay for all this, look, we have no choice but to pay for this if you really look at it. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is a that this is a necessary tax. But then he goes, well, what, they're going to tax us more? And I'm going to say no. And Trump, you know better than that. We got all this money coming in from with our tariffs and different cuts and regulations and stuff like that. And really, it shouldn't be that much.
Right. But people are going to say, well, it's their fault they had sex. Okay, whatever. All right. It's their fault they had sex. Well, that's not going to stop. And maybe people say this will be a deterrent. I haven't seen it being a deterrent. People are still having babies. Well, people are going to take birth control. You're going to go after birth control then? Is that going to be considered also a situation? Because if for whatever reason these kids have, or whoever, not even kids, whoever has a child, it is what it is. You're making these laws. People are going to have children because they're not going to stop having sex. Maybe they're going to have more protected sex. Maybe they're going to have 10 condoms, but we know what happens. We know what happens. And it's going to continue. There's going to be more programs that are going to have to be available for single moms or single dads or all this stuff.
We'll call it co-parenting.
But right now, the law, again, it's one-sided. It's gone extreme. And there needs to be an additional law, if you're going to maintain that law in whatever state, on the other side. Responsibility on the other side. And it means people are going to have to handle, and I know people are going to mention child support. Let me tell you, child support, these courts don't do the right thing most of the time. Sometimes they're biased one way, sometimes they're extremely biased the other way, and it's just crazy because I know people that are going through some stuff now that the person disappeared and the child is 5-6 years old, and now they don't want to, they had to take them to child support because they made arrangements out of the situation, and the person said they loved them and all. There's like all these different scenarios.
And also the fathers being homeless because all their money that they make 14-15 bucks an hour and only make $200 every 2 weeks because of child support. So then how's the man going to take care of himself and take care of a child, which all the child but fuck the man? It's so fucked up. I'm sorry for cussing, but it's such a Pandora's box has just been opened. You know, that all these issues.
The whole system needs to be looked at.
It's like it needs to be a complete overhaul. That these discussions may take years before you make a law. So in order to make it simple, if I was going to do this law and if I was in Congress, all right, and I want us to go Congress, there has to be a standard law to a startup law. Reason being, I'm using the word startup law because it's the only way I can actually think of doing it, because it's going to change. The law is not going to necessarily change, but as issues come about, the law's going to have to be modified.
But
not
it's going to be different.
biasly.
But it's going to be different. You can't. That's the whole thing with the federal law. You can't have. It's going to be difficult to do that. You're going to have. Each state has its own constituency. Each state decides what they're going to do in their state. You can't. It's going to be. It's going to be a cluster.
And that's where President Trump, check this out, right? I know you want to have every state to have that you want to leave laws to the states. I get that, but also I do have an understanding. I ain't saying you do, I ain't saying you don't, but there's a difference between federal law and state law. Federal law is the law of the land that governs the states. Okay? This is a republic. this is not authoritarian. I'm not down with authoritarianism or anything like this. But there has to be some sort of parameter legislation from the law of the land that the states have to follow in order to pass these type laws. I still believe in state power, but there has to be a solid law, solid federal law, parameters, like the way the Constitution is made. Like the Constitution was made in the way the law parameter, and it was based around a parameter. It's based on a parameter of what things should be done in this country. That's my understanding of the Constitution. So that being said, there has to be a law of the land that is constitutional, that stays within the parameters of the Constitution. That's why we have the Supreme Courts, the Supreme Justices, that all the states should follow, and the parameters for the states to make their laws. But there has to be a set law, as in all parties are responsible when kids, when pregnancy, or another thing, when couples have sex and have kids. A parameter law. Then the states, within that parameter of the federal law, has to follow in order to pass their laws in the states on what each state wants. That's a discussion that will take years.
It's gonna get worse. I'm sorry. It's gonna get worse because, man, right now,
every so often we're gonna have these discussions and stuff like that. If y'all have any input on it, as I says, it doesn't matter if you're liberal, it doesn't matter if you're conservative, Democrat, Republican, Green Party, or anything like this. What all comes down is we're all American. But these are our views, our ideas. Don't bash. You know what I'm saying? Don't. We're taking it serious because, you know, like this. I'm conservative. She's liberal. She has issues. I have issues. She's one of my best friends, and we agree to disagree all the time because we have our boundaries. But if we can sit here and talk to each other about these situations and feed off, I don't see why our governments can't do it because, you know, obviously they're not.
Man. Well, anything else? Last thoughts?
That's my last thought. I'm looking at you.
Again, my thing is, besides the spiritual aspect of this, again, you know, I wouldn't have an abortion. I don't, you know, that's not my thing. But I do believe in free will, which you can call it, you know, pro-choice or whatever. Free will. People will have to suffer the consequences of the actions or whatever that they make. But I think if you're talking about the laws that they just passed, the fact that it's not including the other side in the, you know, the aftermath, which is, okay, somebody has a baby and again the person doesn't want to be part of the picture, they have to be held equally responsible under the law. So if you're making law about somebody, you know, not having a child or you know, not bringing this child into the world, and they do it whatever means, but by whatever means they do, and you're giving them 30 to 100 years in jail or the death penalty, then on the other side, if the person abandons the person while they have the child, and even up to the 18 years of the child's life, they should have to deal with jail time.
And then just to let you know that from what I know, that federal law can overrule state laws.
It's going to be a fight.
I know it's going to be a fight.
So there's a lot of stuff here that, I mean,
but you know, but we have to go through this fight. I mean,
and I honestly think that, you know, there's going to be a lot of lawsuits, which, you know, man.
I feel for all of you, man. People that have a choice, and people that are pro-choice, and people that are not pro-choice. You know what I'm saying? So, only thing we're doing here is just trying to find some sort of mid ground. And believe me, believe her, this is not easy. You know what I'm saying? So, I'm going to check y'all out. See you on our next video. Y'all be cool.
Peace.
Peace.